things.
I probably started at the bottom too.
We started at the end.
It's only a very small meeting today, Megan, 2 items only. You missed last week.
I did.
You weren't here last Tuesday. No, you should have been at that one, it was a bigger meeting. No, she wasn't last, no, the month before she was here.
You actually missed Brian Fox giving a compliment.
It was a great meeting, best one ever.
4.
Didn't give it to him though. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to our extraordinary or our special council meeting. Just a couple of quick, under the Rural City of Wangara live stream, clause 91.4 of the Governance and Meeting Conduct Local Law provides the following. This public meeting is being recorded to improve access to the meeting for our community. The recording will be retained by Council in accordance with Council's legal obligations. As a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge the Bangarang people as our traditional land owners on which we are meeting here tonight and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and to any other native landholders who may be amongst us today. The opening prayer, please. Would we stand? Almighty God, we humbly ask Thee to bless and guide this council in its deliberations so that we may truly preserve the welfare of the people whom we serve. Amen. Amen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're all present. I'd just like to point out that we have standing in the place of Alan Clark today, we have Marcus Goonan, who will be standing in as Director of Infrastructure and Services, and of course we have Jamie Chubb as our Acting CEO, standing in for Brendan McGrath, who is away on annual leave. There is no conflict. Any council's got any conflict on any of these issues here tonight? In that case, we'll proceed and we'll go to 7, Corporate Services. Thank you, Sarah. 7.1.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7.1, financial statements and performance statement for the year 2018-19. This is to adopt those statements in principle. So as part of the Local Government Act, Council is required to produce an annual report every year which includes the financial statement and the performance statement. And this report is presented to Council to consider in principle approval of those statements and also the governance and management checklist prior to forwarding those on to the Victorian Auditor General. So the recommendation is as per on the screen, which is to improve the statements, the financial and performance statements in principle, to authorise the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor to certify those statements in their final form after any changes are recommended or agreed by the Victorian Auditor General are made. Adopts the governance and management checklist and again authorises the Mayor to certify that checklist. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll just quickly note too, there is no public question time at the end of today's special meeting, but there is question time on any of the issues raised here tonight. So I'll put it out. Are there any questions from the gallery? No. Can I have a mover, please, of this motion? Councillor Clark, seconder. Councillor Curry, I was going to say Bustle. Too many people here. Councillor Bustle. Councillor Clark, would you like to talk on the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's a very good result for the city this year that we've come up with a surplus, and that most of the jobs that we've wanted to do, we've been able to do. Just a couple of things that I'd like to mention in the balance sheet, that current assets have decreased by $9 million. That's mainly due to the level of financial investments that have been used to pay for some of our capital works program, which was completed in the 18-19 year, and some of the deferral of the loan borrowings, which will be used to fund capital programs in this financial year. And of course, because of that, non-current assets have increased by 23 million. And that's because non-current assets are assets that are not expected to be converted into cash within the next 12 months. And that's mainly due to the revalue of the aerodrome and also the level of works in progress. And the third thing is that our total equities increased by 9.1 million. Mainly due to council surplus of 3.61 and contributed equity of 152,000 and an asset revalue of 5.3 million. So I just think there are a couple of salient points that we should put out there for the public to know.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Would anybody else like to speak on the motion forward? I will. Just like to point, this says in the recommendation that that this authorises the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor to sign off in relation to these statements, and I would not feel comfortable in doing that if not for the good work of our Deputy Mayor and our Councillor Clark, who have accounting backgrounds that most of us don't have. So I commend them. The team also for doing a great job in our finance department, but having Councillor Curry and Councillor Clark on certainly gives us a better stream of understanding and security that what I am signing, I'm happy to do because they're happy with it. So thank you to those guys. Councillor Clark, would you like to finish, or are you okay? Okay, I'll put the motion forward. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you, Sarah. Uh, 7.2, carryovers and capital operating projects.
Thank you again. So this report is presented to Council to endorse the end of year financial position in relation to the Capital Works programme and the carry forward of budget allocations from last year to this year in particular. So in this case, I think I'll just say the recommendation is on the screen there with the various figures that we're looking to carry forward.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any questions from the gallery in relation to this? Anyone? Okay, Councillor Clark will move that motion. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Curry again. Would anybody like to talk on the motion? Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to talk a little bit about the carry forward of $3,084,000, which is included in that motion up there. 3,054,000.
54.
It's a little bit small on the back page, and I couldn't. But carried forward is 671,000 for the aquatic centre, and 558,000 for the organics plant, and various other projects that we've carried forward. The Wangaratta Eldorado Road, Burke Road intersection, that's almost 200,000. So I'm quite happy to move the motion, knowing that those projects have been carried forward and will be carried out in this financial year.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Would anybody else like to speak for the motion or against? I'll put the motion forward then. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's come to the end of our meeting. That's how quick it was. 10 past, Jamie. You were right. Thank you for your attendance. Have a great afternoon and or good evening. Have a great day. Bye.